Welcome to another BrewCon London Brew Talk. BrewCon London is the UK's largest homebrew expo and convention. The BrewCon Brew Talk videos are sponsored by the Malt Miller.
Hi everyone, I'm Will. Sorry to have disappointed you not be talking about malt today at this time. I can do if you want, because I did work in a malting for like 8 years. Now I work for a hop merchant. So, this is Top of the Hops. Unfortunately, Reggie Yates or Fern Cotton won't be joining us this afternoon. Not to worry. So, sort of about who I am and what I do. I work for Simply Hops. We are a part of the Bath House Group, who supply about 40% of the world's hops. Mostly to larger, bigger breweries, which is sort of about 60-70% of the business, and then 30% of the business comes through us for craft, which is quite cool. So I do sort of mostly sales and then technical support for people that don't really understand how to use their hops properly, or other hop products we have, be it anti-foams or extract products that you use in place of bittering of normal traditional hop products. We offer those, so I have to kind of know how to dose them properly into the brew lamp. So, I've got an MSc in Brewing and Distilling from Harriet Watt in Edinburgh. It means I pretend to know a lot about everything in brewing, but I don't really know everything. So if you've got a question you're not sure, I might be able to help you answer, but maybe also not. It's quite diverse. I was a former maltster at Simpson's Malt for about 5-6 years, with my dad, who worked there for 15 years, and various other maltings, and my granddad had worked in the maltings before him, so quite a revelation for me to move into hops from malt, but it's good fun. And my favourite Beavertown beer, which I noticed I've written wrong on here, I've tried it 4 times, not 3 like I wrote. It's the Double Chin. If any of you have ever had Double Chin, wait until Beavertown's birthday. It's double neck oil, it's beautiful. Really, really beautiful beer. But yeah, so that's who I am. Today we're going to go over sort of, from a beer drinker's perspective, and then into a brewer's, of what sort of hops you should be using in your beer. Things that you might have missed, that you don't look out for anymore, and things that then are coming up that you need to look out for. That's kind of the thing. So, for kind of most people's sort of buying process these days for beer, and kind of probably what then relates as to what you want to homebrew, you'll be looking at what the trends are. So for most people, we're looking at, if you go into a bottle shop, you'll be looking for something from another country. You'll be looking out for like Scandinavian beer, or Spanish beer, or Danish beer, or American beer. You'll like pick that up and go, oh, it's got these hops in it from there. Or, well, most of them have got American hops in it anyway. But yeah, you'll be looking at that, or you'll do what I do and go in looking for local provenance. I live in Kent, love drinking Kentish ale, brewed with Kentish hops. It's quite fun to drink things that are brewed 3 miles away with hops that were grown a mile away from there. It's kind of nice to live in a region of the country where you can do that. But I also like drinking beers in that region produced by brewers with hops not from Kent. So people like Pig and Porter, Burning Sky, Iron Pier. What else have I got on there? Unbarred. I don't know if you've tried those guys from Brighton, but they make really, really nice hazy pale. They do a great job of kind of bringing back in that whole exotic stuff, but in a local way. You probably have the same kind of thing here. And then trends, really, that people always ask for that new in thing. Milkshake IPA, had one last night, really, really nice from Lervig. It would be great to know how to kind of replicate that, but not at a really expensive price point of it being 100% Citra, which is crazy, but you can't then get hold of those hops. So how do you sort of do that easily, really? So on to that next slide, really. And, sorry, we've got transitions on, like, so my bad. But yeah, so there's a huge amount of demand from that for Citra Galaxy, Simcoe, Mosaic, Nelson, Palatine Blanc, and then in Kent, EKG, which you don't really see much, but everywhere else. But people will stick to kind of the 7 things, and everyone uses the next 7 things. And we're always after those 7 things. And, well, if everyone's after those 7 things, there aren't really any of them available. So, what do you do? And then, because of that, there's a lot of missed opportunity because you're only using those 7. What else is there out there? Is there something else out there that you could try and use to better brew your beer with, really? So, we have if you go to the very last one, that's it, perfect. We run something called the Underdog Competition, and we'll go over that in a minute about some other hops, but we kind of showcase to people kind of what is the underdog in hops. That's one of the things. So the missed opportunity really is, as styles kind of sort of fall out of fashion, their associated hops kind of go with it. So if people associate to like a West Coast IPA to a particular hop, then they won't use that hop when they produce a juicy beer. Similarly, lagers are becoming quite a big thing in craft beer. I don't really know if homebrewers are getting into that as well, but everyone will just stick to the noble hops. They'll go, I have to have Palatine traditional milk fruit, or start to attack them. Well, you don't, but because you don't think to look at other hops, you kind of stick to that, and then really with those malt and adjuncts for dark beer, hop can play a big part in that. You don't have to put fruit juice and lactose and some other perfume in it. You can probably find a hop that does all the same things. But that's not really been communicated that well by us as merchants necessarily. And so there's other things out there that might not have found a home as a result. So that's kind of what we're going to go through now. So if we go through to the next slide, that's just doesn't really matter. So the first one, ENDEAVOUR. Has anyone heard of ENDEAVOUR? A couple of people, because not totally missed out on the spectrum. So this is an English variety. It's only been bred in the last sort of 20 years. Came from Cascade and Challenger. It's quite high alpha for English varieties. This last harvest was 9.3%, which is up there. It works really nicely in the blend, so you can see there, Colonel Brewed one. Well, you can't really read the label, but it's Amarillo Simcoe ENDEAVOUR for 5% pale ale. Works really, really well in a blend with some other sort of other hemisphere hops. You get sort of a nice spicy and green English flavour. Works well like Challenger or EKG with, but also a little bit of a Cascade. Keep an eye out for it. I've got some samples of it here, which you can take home to try some out as well. Really good hop. Comet. 2 types of Comet, German and American. This is one we did this year, our work underdog sort of competition with. A lot of people found that German smells and tastes better than the American one does. The German one, you get a really nice sort of big black currant and cassis note that you tend to only find in sort of southern hemisphere hops. It's really, really versatile. And then with the American one, when we have it as a BBC palette, you get a lot of blueberry and citrus and a nice resiny note, and you kind of get what some people in Europe have called a Simcoe light kind of taste, where you've got the lighter notes of what that big punchy hop would be. But the real reason it's good to use, and kind of why Tyler we use it in Dutty, is it comes in at about 10 to 20% less in price than the big American Rhone hops. So you can create something on the low end price for all the big flavour, or in a blend with something else. But Tyler will just use the American one. But yeah, you can play around a bit more with those flavours, but for a little bit less money. So then, Mandarina Bavaria, you've probably heard of it and maybe used it once or twice, but people seem to forget about how nice it is. Really, really lovely orange you can hop. Again, fallen out of favour because of Session Pale sort of being superseded by Session IPA. It does work really well in combination for things like double dry hop IPA. You can see down here, well, the pictures haven't come out as well as I thought they would. That's a beer that we did with Unity in a collaboration, and we used it in partnership with Callista, which is quite a nice sort of pear flavoured hop. Citrus and pear with 2 hops that cost half the price of West Coast hops. You can get all these really lovely flavours out of it. So again, kind of half the price point, but sort of the same amount of flavour really. And then you can also look to use it in lager styles. It will give us kind of a nice orangey kick to something that you might normally not think to be there. It's a nice clean body and then in with a nice orange. Very quite refreshing. Had to bring a Beavertown beer into this presentation. So Amarillo, weirdly, people aren't using it as much anymore. Probably associated with the fact that it was kind of like the daddy of American pale ales 5 years ago. But because of that, people associate it to that kind of citrusy, bitter flavour. But what else is kind of citrusy and bitter? Fruit. So if you want to do a fruit beer, but you don't really want to have a synthetic background to it, stick some Amarillo. And that's why bloody hell tastes so nice, because Amarillo's in there, works quite well with the fruit. Nice flavour. On to the next one. STRISSELSPALT. Anyone heard of this? Had a pint of Kronenberg? Yeah? Yeah, good man. So, STRISSELSPALT is sort of France's noble lager variety. Featured recently in an advertising campaign with none other than Eric Cantona. The price of that hop, though, I don't think it would buy you a supercar like the advert tells you it would. But yeah, really, really nice, noble flavour, low alpha, nice aroma, means that you don't necessarily have the risk of some bitterness from kettle utilisation if you were going to use it in a lager. You can really just play around and not worry too much, get the nice kind of noble notes, and again, because it's not from the Hallertau, the price point's a bit better. And it also works really well in Belgian pale and saison and all that kind of nice Belgian-y stuff. It's nice and light. It works much more as a complement to kind of the esters that you might get from the yeast. Really, really good hop. And if you can get an older crop, it's great for sour because there's basically no alpha after a couple of years. And you can just use it as an addition to kind of get that hoppy, whatever it is you need it for the alpha. I forget, I don't make many sour beers these days, I'm sorry. ENIGMA. Anyone heard of ENIGMA? Yeah, so it's the direct sister of Galaxy. Now, Galaxy you can't get, although there are some samples in this box for you for coming to this talk, if you're lucky enough to get one of them. But ENIGMA, yeah, it's sort of more wine-like than sort of tropical fruit. And it works really, really well in the sort of pale ale category when paired up with something else American. Particularly in sort of double dry hop IPA. The main reason it's a bit more available than Galaxy is it takes about 3 years for varieties to kind of grow and mature enough to be harvested for commercial sale. This year we got double of the quantity of ENIGMA out of the farms. So it's going to be a bit more available for you to use than the Galaxy will. And please do try and use it. It might not stay like that for a while because the brewers will sort of cotton on as well. But if you're going to use Galaxy in a beer but you can't find it but you see ENIGMA, try it out, see how it kind of plays. It won't be exactly the same, but you'll see kind of that very nice tropical and berries and but sort of on a little bit of a dry note. But it's a bit difficult. Try not to use it too much in sort of single hop IPAs. You can sometimes get it right with it, but it's a bit more of a harder to tame hop than Galaxy would be. Some people have tried to use it and it'll taste a bit like Pain Stripper if they've done it just as single hop. Try and pair it off with something else. So that's kind of things that were missed out. On to the newer things. These are all experimental varieties. You may or may not have seen them. This one I would be surprised if any of you have heard of it. HBC 353. We really didn't get very much this harvest. We got 80 kilos for all of Europe. normally with experimental hops, like Sabro, the first year it was released, we got about half a ton. So it's kind of a very, very small quantity for people to try out and play with. It is very much like Laurel, but it's got a bit of a lower alpha, and it's kind of a nice kind of enhanced herbal floral lager kind of aroma flavour to it. You're getting a chance really with this, seeing what the Americans are doing in the way that they're developing their hops. Obviously lager's going on the storm over there with craft people as much as it is here, but to import lager hops from Germany is quite expensive, so they're starting to develop their experimental hops to be a bit more noble. Hopefully this one will pick up, but it's really kind of strange not to see something super juicy coming out of the experimental range of things, and a bit more sort of classic. I brought some along. How much time have I got left? Okay, do you guys want to do a little bit of rub and sniff and we'll pass around with this? Awesome. I've got three lines. That's all right. Just don't tell anyone in the brewery that you've done that, you'll be fine. Nearly sniffed my microphone then, not paying attention to what I'm doing. Right. So you can really kind of smell there the kind of nice herbal and green tea notes that are in that, a bit more than what you kind of would expect from any sort of more noble German stuff. The alpha's up there quite nicely as well. So. But yeah, really good new. And there's a little bit of kind of citrus there because obviously it's from America, but quite a nice new thing to have a whiff of. As I say, there's not really any of this available. Hopefully into next year, they'll keep it going, but I'll wait until it gets to the back and sort of do a show of hands of anybody that would actually brew with it, or we go, no, that can't. Be honest, if there's not styles you couldn't quite fit it into, or everyone like it. I think it would be lager, or I think it would work quite nicely in sort of like a summery, like blonde or pale. Be really, really quite refreshing. White IPA, yeah, white IPA would be quite sweet with that as well, yeah. I mean, anything, Laurel's never really been much either. We don't really get a huge amount of that as a whole, but people use it. There was Cloudwater did a double IPA with Laurel and something else, and it did bring out this nice sort of floral note as well as the citrus. Yeah. So just out of a show of hands, how many of you would kind of consider using that? Cool. That's a nice sort of, that's 70%. And those of you that didn't think you'd use it, any reason? Or not hoppy enough? That's what some people are saying. Easy peasy. Oh, I did snort it. That's not very good. That'll be all I can smell and taste for the next 6 hours. Right, so on to the next one. HPC 431. Anyone come across that? Cool. So we're not communicating it enough to people again. It's kind of the problem. So it's USA grown, but actually mostly found favour in Europe. So you see down this side we've got a Lane can. Has anybody gone to a Lane pub? This hop is now part of one of their core ranges, sauce. But it works really, really well in a pairing with something. You get really lovely like jam and strawberry and just lovely juicy fruity notes. We think the main reason it worked better in Europe than it does in America, most people here use it in sort of 5% pale. In America, they always seem to be up for a stronger beer. And some people have tried it in double IPA and it works with like 3 or 4 hops, but it doesn't really kind of pair itself off as well. So if you see it, try and aim for a sort of a lower session strength and it really will sing. Really nice hop. I think we've got some on Malt Miller's portfolio. If we haven't, Martin, let me know and we'll sort you some out. HPC 472. Anyone heard of that? So HPC is hop breeding. I've forgotten that. Something to do with hop breeding. And then they have a number and they have so many lots, and every year they'll grow like maybe like one set of vines, and then everyone will try it, and then they'll just write it off and pick another one. So you may never see this stuff ever again, but you might. It's kind of the nature of it. But yeah, this one. This is a really interesting one for dark beer. You can dry hop dark beer to make it taste like it's been in the barrel. It brings out some really nice woody and vanilla notes, but it's also a big coconut hit. It's the sister of the Sabro hop. Anyone heard of that? Yeah. This one hasn't quite been picked for a name yet, but that Overtone beer, their dry hop stout, got to try that up in Edinburgh in May. Tastes like it's been barrel aged. Really crazy. I mean, like a coconut barrel aged beer, but you don't need to go to adjuncts to get those flavours. Hop kind of are there to do so. So keep an eye out for that. 1 minute? Okay. So quickly, HBC 692. Just imagine like Equinox, but with no pithiness really to it. It's like just pure grapefruit juice. We didn't really get any of this into Europe this year, but the 2 or 3 beers I got to try with it, including this one from New Realm, just amazing grapefruit. Brew 1, that's a hop that's been around for a couple of years, but only really being used by the breweries. So you'll start to hopefully see it a bit more into the homebrew market, and this is just like pure pineapple juice. Like, if any of you got to try this Verdant beer that we did a collab with them for a couple of weeks ago, just drinking pineapple juice, absolutely beautiful. And then one quick last thing, HPA 035. I know Malt Miller did sell a little bit of this, I don't know if any of you used it, but it was a really beautiful experimental variety that was just the most stone fruit hop I've ever smelled, and the beer that it produced was amazing. Like, if there was ever a hop that should have been designed for New England Pale Ale, it was this variety. However, they trialled it originally with big breweries, like they had done with Galaxy, and the big brewers were like, no, we don't want that in our beer. Finally, Craft got to use it, and they'd already decided by that point that demand wasn't enough, so they ripped it out. It will never be a hop in the portfolio. It's gone. And there might be a little bit of it knocking around still, but yeah. So let people know when you try something. Is really the message. Just kind of let your supplier, if you try something new and you've never seen it before, or you try something for the first time, feed it back to the guys that are contracting it out with us, who are Malt Miller or Get Brewed. Let them know that you tried those hops out, they worked really well, or whether they didn't work, or something like that, because that feedback of information is just as important as a brewery picking it and letting us know that it's good or bad, and then we can feed it back to the farmer, because otherwise, like 35, it could be like it's a bit unfair really, but maybe it could have been better than Galaxy, like, and they just took it out because the wrong market picked it and no one told them how good beautiful it was. So keep that in mind. As we say, keep in regular communication with your hop dealer. I have got 2 phones. And by this I mean tweet me. If you're trying a beer, and send a tweet to either Simply Hops or myself as Longmate, or the guys at Malt Miller, or anything you try and use and brew with, just feed it back one way or another that was awesome, or it Try not to tweet that it wasn't very good, but that's it.